So after months of waiting, I finally got the chance to see I'm Still Here, the movie seemingly every lovely Brazilian in the world has been hyping up in my comment sections for the last few months. And I will say I was very much looking forward to this movie because of that buildup of the hype from the Brazilians, but I was also a little bit worried that maybe it wouldn't live up to all of that. So I was a little bit worried about maybe I just think this is good but not great, and then do I review it and then piss off every Brazilian for not thinking it's one of the best movies of the year? And I gotta say, man, I really loved this. It did live up to the hype for me. The story follows Eunice Paiva and her family as they are forced to live and grieve after her husband was taken away from her by the military dictatorship in Brazil. And this is gonna be something you hear in every white American's review of this film, but I did not know of this story. I didn't know much about the military dictatorship in Brazil, and I love history. I love reading about history, so it's really interesting just to learn about the history of this dictatorship in Brazil through this film. And what I'll say is this film really does a wonderful job of capturing the human element in this story better than most films from recent years. You really buy into these characters and you really care for Eunice Paiva and all of her kids after this devastating thing has just happened to them. There were a few points in the film that had me crying quite a lot, and honestly I was expecting that because of just how much Brazilians had been hyping up Fernanda Torres' performance. And yeah, I mean, she deserves all of the hype, absolutely. I am so happy she was nominated for an Oscar because boy does she deserve it. Fernanda Torres' performance as Eunice Paiva is also far more internal than I was expecting. Like, she has a few louder moments, but for the most part it's all her inside her own head because she has to put on a smile for her children. That way they don't think there is something wrong. Meanwhile, she is going through so much pain in her head. And you really see that come through. I mean, there's this one scene in, I believe, an ice cream shop where she's just looking around the room at all the other families, and you can see the tears start to come to her eyes and trying to smile for her kids. That way they don't know that she is just devastated. It's really beautiful work. And there are so many other moments like this where Torres has to wear this smile on her face on the surface, but has to convey so much more underneath that surface, and she pulls it off magnificently throughout the entire film. Like, it's just such a masterful performance in my opinion. One of the best of the year. Honestly, top 3 performance of the year for me, if I'm being completely honest. It is really, really impressive stuff. And as far as other scenes that really hit me like this, that last scene with Fernanda Montenegro, boy, did that blow me away. That one really hit me in the heart. And just as a whole, I think the idea of having Fernanda Montenegro play the older version of the character that her daughter has been playing the entire movie is such a great decision. And what Fernanda Montenegro is able to convey with so little in that one scene is so big. The script, I think, is one of the better scripts of the year. Honestly, I wish that this got nominated for adapted screenplay on top of picture and actress and international feature, because the script is wonderful. I mean, it's not a pleasant watch because it's heartbreaking, but everything that the film explores is done so well. And honestly, with a lot of subtlety, which I wasn't expecting how soft and subtle this movie is in so many moments, and I really loved that. I will say, as far as like light little criticisms, nothing that took away from the entire experience of the film for me, but I did feel like the middle ran maybe a little bit too long. Like it could have been trimmed a little bit to keep the ball rolling. It's nothing that like completely took me out of the movie and I was just unengaged through the middle, but you know, it was just something that I noticed in the film. And also the score I feel like was a little bit too intentionally sappy, trying to manipulate you to cry in moments. Like going back to that scene that I just talked about, that ice cream shop scene with Fernanda Torres, that the music playing behind it is really trying to make you cry. And I don't think that was necessary in order for me to feel the emotions that I was already naturally feeling because of the weight of the scene and the performance from Torres. So yeah, like I said, those are just like little minor things. They don't take away from the bigger picture of it all. I was really captured by this movie, by the human story that it is, and by these characters. I mean, every actor here, I mean, Fernanda Torres is obviously the main one, but all of the kids who play her children do such a wonderful job and make you feel for them, which is kind of far and few between with children performances. So I really think just overall, this movie just makes you feel something at the end of the day, and it does it so well, did it better than I could have hoped for. So because of that, I would give I'm Still Here 4.5 stars. That's it for my review of I'm Still Here, everybody. What did you think of this movie if you've gotten the chance to go see it, if you're an American? And all you Brazilians watching this, I know you guys loved it, so I'm so happy for you guys that this film got into Best Picture even. It's a wonderful film and it really deserves it. So if you liked what you saw here today and you would like to see more, subscribe to follow the odyssey that is Oscar season.